Good morning, everyone. Chris Osberg here, Winding Road Magazine. Today I'm here with the 2017 Kia Cadenza. There it is. So this is Kia's entry into the large front-wheel drive platform, near luxury, or you could call it a luxury segment. It competes with the likes of the Lexus ES, the Buick Verano, the Lincoln MKZ. It's a pretty good looking car. I think the styling as a whole is rather elegant. This being the SXL trim level, it is the fully loaded version, coming in at roughly $45,000. Power operated rear hatch here, or rear trunk lid. Very roomy trunk. A lot of room in here, especially here behind the wheel wells. Unfortunately, the rear seats do not fold down, but there is a pass-through. Go ahead and close that here. Nice kind of gunmetal PVD finish on the wheels. Look pretty good. Chrome strip along the bottom of the doors. Full LED light treatment. Large grille. We see the integrated radar sensor right in the middle. They've kind of tried to hide it with some grille accents there. But I think for the as-tested price, it's a very elegantly styled vehicle. Rear seat legroom, very good. Very flat too. Minimal transmission hump or driveline tunnel there in the middle. Lots of room. Interior styling, first of all, is exceptional. You can see the white package this car is equipped with. Gives you these really nice white leather seats with diamond stitching. The contrasts and the material and everything here, it's a very upscale looking interior selection for a vehicle in this price class. I'm not going to give any guarantees on how well this is going to wear or look over time. I hope you're well versed in vehicle detailing or have a good detailer on speed dial, because I'm not sure how well this finish will last, but it's a very nice looking interior on this car. So let's go ahead, see what else we're working with. We got the front seat has slid back on the tracks to allow me easy access. Go ahead, pop the hood. And here we go. Pretty basic underneath the hood here, just a flat black engine cover. We have Kia's 3.3 liter V6 direct injected engine, putting out 290 horsepower in the Cadenza. You can see the heads-up display workings right there. All right, let's go ahead and fire this thing up. Engine start over here. It's a nice metal finish button. As I said, really love the interior styling on this car. Absolutely nice contrast of colors and textures, and it feels very upscale considering the price tag on this thing. You'd be able to convince people that you're in a luxury level car, even though this is kind of an entry luxury level price. So infotainment system, HVAC controls, all pretty familiar to the Kia set. You have some tactile buttons here to handle your HVAC duties, a couple buttons here to handle some of your commonly selected infotainment options. The GUI, or the menu driven system, here is very familiar. It works pretty well. There are some infotainment bugs though that I've been seeing lately on some of these Kia vehicles that I would hope would be addressed. So at the entry-level price point where you see some of these cars, may be more acceptable, but once you start getting into a $45,000 luxury vehicle, some of these bugs definitely need to be looked at. So the system every once in a while will hang. There's a few annoying things with some of the options. For instance, if you have your phone hooked up, it wants to do CarPlay naturally, but if you unselect the CarPlay and let's say you want to do Waze and listen to satellite radio or something, Every time your phone wants to give a message, due to the ways it silences the whole infotainment system. I'm not sure if you completely follow what I'm saying, but it's a bunch of really small nitpicky things that are mostly software related. Maybe it's compatibility with my iPhone 7, but in any case, they could improve some of the usability on the infotainment. Onto a good point, gauges. I love the usability and legibility of these Kia gauges. Analog gauges here, very easy to read. Center menu driven or center LCD display that has a lot of additional functionality, including compass, tire pressure. We've got heads up display. Basically, you have your adjustments for a lot of the systems in the car right here. Drive mode, we have it currently at comfort. That's a default setting. Trip computer information. And of course, a redundant digital speedometer display. Shift panels right here. Those are for the 8-speed Kia automatic transmission, which performs actually quite well. Down here, we've got the camera system that we can activate. For the price, this is actually a very good system. So you can see the legibility and the readability of the top view is exceptionally good. It beats a lot of cars costing a lot more than this. Yes, I'm looking at you, Cadillac. It's a nice, crisp system, and you can adjust which camera view you're looking at. Quite good. So, put it back in the park. We've got steering wheel heating. We've got drive mode selection. We've got heated seats. We've got cooled seats. We've got lots of stuff. We're also shading the rear window, as you can see right there. So, steering wheel, also a very nice feeling, nicely styled unit. Piano black trim, you know, I'm not really a fan in most cars because it gets smudged up easily, scratches easily, but it does look nice in this application. So, we're gonna go for a drive. Powertrain performance is quite good. You got to remember that this is a luxury car, not as much of a performance car, but the refinement of the engine is good. The transmission is well paired. Transmission shifts smoothly. The engine has a nice power band, and when you're on it, it's got a really nice pull above 5,000 RPM. You kind of get that last 1,200 RPM, and you can tell the engine is really pulling to the red line. So, passing performance is excellent. Off the line, the car definitely has traction issues. This is common with, you know, a 300 horsepower front wheel drive car. But once you're rolling, it drives quite nice. Ride quality is great. That's one thing that this car excels at. Is it seems to be a really competent, let's say, road trip or cruising car. You have a very nice ride, and even over rough, crashing potholes, the chassis feels composed and it absorbs it well. You don't get the clunking or the crashing you sometimes get when you run over really rough roads like you have here in Michigan. But in a sporting sense, it does have the typical Kia, let's say, numbness to it. So the steering is a bit numb. You don't really feel what's going on underneath you, but you know, it's not a sporty car. That's not what it's designed to do. So the chassis control or the body control sometimes feels a little bit rubbery if you're trying to hustle a car. But, you know, that's not what this car wants to do. This car wants to be smooth and comfortable, and that's how you should drive it. In terms of driver assistance systems, as you'd expect, at this price point, you get quite a bit. So we're going to go ahead and engage the radar guided cruise control, which fortunately is a full stop and go system. So you can set your following distance here. It comes up in the heads up display. We're going to follow this vehicle in front of us. So overall, the system works well. My minor complaint with the system is on the highway, it can be a little too cautious at times. So right now it's following at a great distance, but let's say you're on the highway and you're in the right lane and you have a truck that's moving slow coming up. So you can see this distance we're at right now. The system will slow down substantially when it comes up to an obstacle or a slower moving vehicle at a distance, let's say 3 or 4 times what you're seeing right here. So the truck is way down the road and the car kind of overly aggressively slows down before you even get there. So I think the system is a bit on the cautious side, and every once in a while it's going to do something annoying on the highway and slow you down a little bit more than you really expect it to. But around town, I think the system works quite well, and it is a full stop and go system, which makes it very convenient to use. And it naturally follows the vehicle in front of me. It's not nervous, it's not hunting around for different speeds, it's just doing the job that it's supposed to be doing. Another minor software-related issue on the HVAC system. I like keeping it set at auto most of the time, but part of the auto functionality is it chooses if it wants to turn on the AC compressor or not. Well, I've run into situations where the air starts to get a little bit humid. You kind of want it to turn on the AC, so you say, okay, the system has chosen to turn the AC off. Let's go ahead and turn it on. As soon as you click AC on, it takes you out of auto mode. So now you don't get the automatic functionality anymore. It says, nope, forget it. Whatever you want to do, you're on your own. So that's actually kind of frustrating. So I would like to have an auto mode, but have you be able to choose if the AC is on or off. And I think most companies do that with the Kia. As soon as you decide to override the system, you're left to your own devices, and the system is no longer automatically regulating the conditions inside the car. And that's kind of annoying. So as soon as I hit auto, once again, turns the AC back off. So maybe I haven't gotten deep enough into the menu system to see if that could be toggled on and off. I've not found anything like that, but it is a little bit on the annoying side, and the car should be smarter than that. So as I'm driving over these typical rough Michigan roads, I do notice a bit of creaking coming out of the A-pillar here. So this car, it does have some squeaks and rattles, and definitely more than I would expect at a car at this level. I'm getting some creaking out of the dash here in the A-pillar. I've noticed some squeaking and rattling intermittently out of the center console. I think those are the small things that you get when you have a car that is, let's say, near luxury. So on paper, this thing has a lot of the features and the technology you see at high price points. Let's say $60,000, $70,000 cars, you know, Mercedes S-Class, Audi A8, BMW 7 Series, etc., etc., etc. And on paper, it competes surprisingly closely with this kind of cars. But when you actually get in there and live with them, you start to see where that extra ground is made up with the highly, you know, expensive or the really top level luxury cars. And some of these things like the build quality or the fit and finish or the squeaks and rattles or how finely all of the electronic systems work together, you're not quite there yet when you're only spending $45,000. And I hate to say only, you know, it's an expensive car, but you get a lot for your money. But let's not kid ourselves and say you're getting the same thing that you get when you spend $60,000, $70,000, $80,000, because you're not. You know, there are some corners that are cut somewhere, and you have to live with some of those small compromises. But on the flip side of that, as I said, the comfort, the technology, the styling that you get for this $45,000 is very, very impressive. You're very close, or closer than you'd expect to be, to the truly luxury expensive cars. And the only thing, you know, it's still a Kia badge vehicle, but it is a darn nice car that you're dealing with here. downshifts are a little bit more snappy when I shifted the drive mode over to sport. As with the case of most luxury cars, you do have a analog clock here on the dash. It looks pretty nice. And actually the cool thing is, I mean, I was entertained by it anyways, but I crossed over from the central time zone to the eastern time zone, and as soon as I did, the GPS system recognized the time zone change and adjusted the digital clock automatically, and it also automatically adjusted the analog clock, which started spinning around. Thought that was a pretty cool high-tech little feature that maybe other cars do too, but it was kind of neat. So there's a little anecdote about the Cadenza. Audio system is the Harman Kardon branded system. I think the styling of the speaker grills is quite nice. Really has kind of an Audi feel to it. I think the overall sound quality of the system is pretty good, with a strong emphasis on low-end bass. This thing can really crank out the low-end bass frequencies if you listen to a lot of electronic or rap music. Some of the mid-bass frequencies are kind of weak in comparison, so it's not a linear frequency response. It's definitely emphasized towards lower-end bass. But the system plays pretty loudly, pretty clearly, decent soundstage. As with many systems, it's heavily dependent on the quality of the input source. So sometimes the heavily compressed satellite radio will not sound incredibly clear, but you know, streaming sounded pretty good when I had my iPhone hooked up via the cable. It sounded exceptionally well under some types of music. I think it's a pretty decent system for a $40,000-ish car, and if you like music, I usually recommend going for the higher-end audio systems. This one is no exception. Car is really quiet overall. Once again, I think the strong point of this vehicle is it's just a super comfortable luxury cruiser. You get this thing out on the highway, set the cruise at 80 miles an hour, and it's very smooth, very comfortable, and it even gets really good fuel economy. I was averaging pretty darn close to 30 miles per gallon on a long 500-mile trip I took in this car last week. I think if you're the kind of guy that does a lot of traveling, or you know, you're a businessman, it's a pretty good choice. For having a steel-based suspension system, you know, it does not have air suspension. It's a very supple feeling. It's a very supple ride. No start-stop system on this car. Actually, a little bit surprising. But the engine is very refined, and at idle, you really don't feel much vibration or harshness or sound coming from it at all. Additionally, the driver assistance features dedicated to lane keeping or lane departure. It's not an active system, meaning it's not going to steer you to keep you in the lane. All it's going to do is beep when you get outside the lane markings. So other cars in the certainly in the luxury class, or even at this price point, are going to active technologies that will steer the car for you. This car just has a passive system that when you have it turned on, it keeps track of where the lane markings are, and it gives you a rather annoying beep when you stray from the lane markings. Works pretty good. Sometimes when you're in, let's say, areas where the lane markings are worn out, or construction areas, you're going to get some false positives, and you're going to want to turn the system off because it's going to be annoying. But in essence, what it's doing, it's just telling you to pay attention. And if you're on a long highway trip and you have good lane markings, I can see the usefulness of that feature. Kia has included a nice little cubby here that you have your USB for charging devices, for hooking up your CarPlay or Android Auto. Also has an auxiliary input, 180 watt power receptacle there. It even has accommodations for wireless charging, which I cannot do with my iPhone, but if you got an Android, it's compatible with that technology. It seems like it'd be pretty sweet to have. It's also rubber grip there, so you can put your device down here and it's going to stay put even while you're driving. Go ahead and activate the radar cruise again. Nice that you can increment the speed, single miles per hour, and it'll just follow the vehicle in front of you. Very comfortable. So Kia Cadenza, what's my take on it? I think you're getting a lot of car for the money here. It really excels at being a comfortable highway cruiser. It is a very elegantly styled, very upscale car for the money. You could definitely impress your neighbors with this thing and convince them, other than the Kia badge, convince them that it's a significantly more expensive or more luxurious car than it is. If you're looking for something that gives you a lot of value for the money in terms of luxury car, a smooth car with excellent styling, good comfortable drivetrain, pretty good fuel economy, and a lot of a strong feature set for the money, you could do a lot worse in this Kia. I think the choice, it's a very compelling choice. I'm sorry, my tongue's a little tied up this morning, but you're getting a lot of car for your money. You could look towards the Lexus as well, and you gain a little bit more by going with, let's say a Lexus badge. That might impress a few more people at the country club. But the overall package that you're getting with this Kia is very compelling when you go feature for feature, or dollar for dollar, the level of car you're getting, the comfort, the driver assistance systems, and technology. And I think that it makes a very good case for themselves, especially the interior styling. I think they've done a really good job of, let's say, mimicking the higher end car companies in bringing the most styling and trendiness to the overall feel of the vehicle for, let's say, a much more aggressive price point. So in any case, that's what this car is good at. What it's not good at is it's definitely not a sporting car. It is not quite as polished as what you're going to get with more expensive cars, so there are a few minor, let's say, software bugs. The build quality, you get a little creaking and rattling, which may not occur with all cars, but it did occur with my car here. And you have to be aware of those, let's say, limitations, that you're not getting quite the car you're going to get when you spend a little bit more into the true, let's say, luxury segment. But I'm impressed with this car. I was very happy with my time driving it. It was a very comfortable car to drive on road trips. And I think Kia is on its way to becoming absolute competitor, and a lot of other car makers should be paying attention to what they're doing because they're bringing a lot of car for the money. So Chris Osberg, Winding Road Magazine, thanks for watching. If you like, please subscribe. Please continue to watch out for additional reviews, road tests, and other automotive related videos you'll be seeing on our channel. So thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it, and I'll talk to you later. See ya.